Hey, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about how bugs happen. Okay, so today I want to tell you about a little tiny bug we released in an app just the other day. Right now I'm hesitant to tell you about this because the last time I talked about me making a mistake, I got a very nasty, sanctimonious comment from somebody saying, "You really suck." See, when I release an app for a client, I make sure that it goes through a testing phase and then a staging phase and then another testing phase, and if it's not signed off for testing, it doesn't go live, and I make sure I do everything right, and I floss my teeth every night, I'm in bed by 8:30, and all perfect. Right? So if you want to go off on how bad a developer I am because I have a little tiny bug that goes out in code, go ahead, right? Whatever, right? We do go through testing. We do a lot of testing, but sometimes things just go through. So, all right, so here's what happened. So I got a call from a client last week. We released an app for them a couple of years ago. It's been in production for years, right? It has a few hundred users. It's not huge. It's like an internal company thing, right? So they just needed a few label changes on a few different fields. I mean, it was so minor, right? I couldn't say it's going to be 5 days development for something like that because we need to make sure we test everything properly. So that, yeah, you know what? We'll just do it in like an hour, 2 hours. Just make sure we test, make sure everything's built right. We make sure we don't have any dependencies missing, everything like that, and we'll just do it and release it. So made the changes. Tested it myself, make sure everything was there, make sure the changes I made were there in the app, everything, sent it through to them, they tested it, they sent it through to their client, they tested it, fine. Everything was approved, it went live. So today I got an email saying, "Eric, we noticed there's a little tiny word at the end of one of the paragraphs," right? And I said, I just emailed back, "Well, what is it?" So they sent a screenshot, and at the end of one of the paragraphs it just said, "Git." And I thought, Git, why would it say, oh, no. You know what I did? And this has happened before, and I should know better, and I try to check before I go in. It's the multiple monitors. So sometimes you're like typing into a terminal, and I was just saving some code. I was just going to check some code in, git add whatever, and I'm typing into the terminal window, and I see, oh, it's not in focus. So because when you got multiple monitors, you got multiple windows open. So I just alt tab, go to the window, and then I just continue typing git add whatever dot whatever. And I didn't stop to think, where was I typing? Obviously, it was in the code window, and it wasn't even the code, because if it was in the code, it wouldn't have compiled, but it was in the actual markup. So, that went through. It went through It went through all the testing phases. Nobody saw it. It was just so small, and then finally, when it went live, it did. So I thought, oh man. So I immediately got on the phone. I called them up, and I said, oh man, I did what any honorable person would do. I blamed it on another developer. So I didn't. I called them up and I said, "Look, hey, I'm so sorry. This shouldn't have happened. And so I just quickly made a change. I went through, tested it, spent a couple hours testing it just to make doubly sure, and I released it immediately. So it was like just that, and it was on Google Play. It was an Android build, so it didn't really go through the whole approval process. So everything was fine. They're like, that's fine, Eric. They do fine. This is having really good clients is important when you select your clients, and you want to have that good relationship with them, so that when you're working with them, these little kind of things happen, right? Bugs happen, and bugs can get through testing, and this was boneheaded. How could I have avoided this? Easy. I could have done git diff before I checked it in, which I do most of the time, and I don't know why I didn't. Probably because it was such a small job. I quoted such a small amount of time on it. I just thought, I'll just make the change, deploy it. It's not that big a deal, and it went out like that. I just when I talk about the little things, this is one of the little things. But these kind of things happen, right? I was grateful for the fact that the clients weren't upset. They were perfectly understanding. They would say, thanks for fixing it so quickly, whatever, right? When the developers who are working for me, when they make mistakes, I have to be the same way. I have to be, hey, these kind of things happen, unless it's something that's really severe. You can't just jump down somebody's throat when there's a bug. The little tiny bugs happen. If you start to be the kind of manager who jumps down someone's throat when anything happens, you know what? Nobody tells you anything. They may find it after it goes live, and they won't tell you about it because you're going to jump down their throat. So it's one of these things, they happen. Bugs happen. If you don't work in software, you may not appreciate that, but I think most software has some little issues that go out with it, unless it's really thoroughly tested and you have like a QA test, or it's a small project. You know, I used to be, one of my first jobs in IT, I was doing a lot of Access and VBA stuff, but one of the things, I was working on a large project and they made me the tester on the project. I wanted to code, but they said, no, Eric, we need you to do all the testing. So every day it was just testing this thing. And you know what? Being a tester, like just a tester, not a developer, that sucks, right? The developers hate you because the developers hate you for two reasons. One, because you're finding too many bugs that are irrelevant to them, or two, because you're not finding enough bugs and bugs are going through to production. So the developers hate you for loads of reasons. The end users hate you because you're not finding the bugs or you're holding up the project. So it's like, yeah, testing is very difficult, but you can only do so much if you have to go live. And anyway, the whole point of the story today is, you know, made a mistake, you know, they were okay with it, I fixed it. Everything went through, and you know, these kind of things happen, but the next time I'm going to make sure I do git diff before I check in, which is a good practice anyway. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.